Yo, 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 what is up, YouTube? It's Ryzen, back after almost a year, and we have another tear-out tutorial. And basically, these are have a little bit more tone to them compared to the last tutorial. And here's what they sound like. Again. Alright, so this is a pretty easy tutorial. Instead of using a snare sound like I did last time, I use a percussion sound, and this is what it sounds like with zero processing. Right? Just super basic. Just find a percussion sample that has a little bit of tone to it, and this is Zulu Perk 2 from Cymatics. Pitch down 5, otherwise it would sound like this. So I pitched it down 5, and that's pretty much the only thing I did to this sample itself. And let's get to the processing. So the first thing I did was, let me just turn all these off real quick. Alright, so the first thing I did was add an EQ that cuts out all the low end. It doesn't make a huge difference, but at the end of the day, I just still put it there. And next we have a frequency shifter, which puts it down negative 8.3 hertz. Honestly, it doesn't make that much of a difference, so this isn't really necessary. This is the before, this is after. Not a huge difference. And Patcher added a disperser sort of preset, so I added that with the two stages and the modulation thing about right here, slightly to the right and at the very bottom. And you should get that dispersed sound. Right. Next we had an OTT. I put the time all the way up, the depth all the way up. The in gain is the same, should be in the middle, and the out gain, just turn that up a little bit, and that's basically it. Reverb, it's more of just adding like a short reverb to give it a little bit of a tail. You know, the wet is at, I'm not completely sure, but I'm not going to change it because I do plan on releasing this and I don't want to screw anything up. It's at 35%, 35%, 50%, and then the dry is at 100. The decay time is at 0.1, and I'm pretty sure that's all the way down. The damp is at 4.0 kilohertz. The crossover, 500 hertz. The bass, 100%. I'm pretty sure that's the default. Now the size is at 40. The diffusion is at 100. The speed is at 33. The mod depth is at 0. The pre-delay is at 0. Now the low cut is all the way down at 75 hertz. And the high cut is all the way up, meaning that it's off. There is no high cut at all. And that's what you should have. Now we're skipping this patcher because I never had it on. And Serum FX all passes filter. I guess it gives it more of a, like, less click. So this is the all passes filter. The cutoff is at 47. The res at 11%. The drive 0. The damp 0. The pan 50. And the mix is all the way up. And that's what you should have right now. Now here we have a combs, filter, and another OTT. Now the combs filter is what does most of the work, I'm going to assume. Yep. So we're going to have the cutoff at 30 hertz. The res at 46%. The drive is at 0. And the damp is at 40. So the combs filter is one of those filters where it's like you gotta be spot on to make it sound the way that you want it to be sound. Cause here I'm gonna put this at 30. If I move it, it sounds different, and if I move it down, it sounds different. So we're gonna put that at 30, right where I like it. And then we have another EQ, which takes out all the lows and boosts the highs a little bit. Not too much, not too little, you know. And then a gain, plus 2.92 decibels. And that's pretty much the processing for the percussion itself. And now we have the sub bass. That is absolutely 0 processing. And if I'm not mistaken, it's the same sub. It's actually not the same sub. It might be the same sub from last tutorial. So basically, it is a sine wave. I put it at -2 octaves, but that's not necessary. It just depends where you put it on the piano roll. And a little bit of white noise, AC hum 1. And this is a LFO which controls the level, but it's not really existing. The level's constantly up. So for the sine wave, the level is going to be at 100%, and for the white noise, it's going to be at 44. And just a little bit of tube distortion, just to distort that white noise with the sub. And we have this LFO here, which controls the sort of like the attack of the sub. It gives it a little bit of like a pitch down effect. Here, let me bypass it and you'll see what I mean. Right, it's just one note. But if I activate it, it kind of gives it an attack to it. And I put that on the coarse pitch. I put that on the coarse pitch, and I just pretty much turned it all the way up or to my likings. It really doesn't matter. It just depends on how it sounds like with the bass or the percussion that you used. And this is what sounded best to me. Now, for the processing of the bass, the first thing I did was add a EQ. Here, let me turn off this real quick. Taking out sort of that, this part right here, the mids and the highs. Otherwise it would sound like this. Right, so makes a little bit of a difference. Now we have the blood overdrive, and this basically distorts it more, gives it a little bit of a more beef to it. So I turn this up right here. I turn 100 times right here on. It just basically distorts it more. And the preamp is at 0.1125. And the color is at 0.5. I'm pretty sure that's smack dab in the middle. Next, we have another EQ. Basically taking out the harsh frequencies, you know, the little high-pitched ringing kind of buzzy sounds. Here's before, and here's after. And next, we have a sound goodizer on the A preset turned all the way up. And another EQ, which takes out majority of the white noise, but it still leaves a little bit in there. And patcher, which has a disperser preset on it for some reason, but I guess so. That's just what it had. And this one is going to have 3 stages, and the little modulation thing is going to be right before the 3rd line down at the very bottom right here. And this is how it should sound like. Alright, so this is how it should sound like right now. Now you might be thinking that bass is pretty whack, and yeah, it is. So I routed both of those tracks into one other track. So I have the bass routing into insert 9, and the sub also routed into insert 9, and we are going to add a patcher preset, which I made. It is basically an OTT, more disperser and distortion. This patcher isn't really connected, so you don't have to worry about that. So for the OTT, the depth is at 78. I'm pretty sure that's 78 or 79. The time is at 514, I believe that says. The gain, default, and the out gain, 11.2 decibels. My bad. Now, let me just turn these off real quick. Now, after the OTT, I have another patcher, another disperser. Right? So that's what it sounds like with the OTT on it. Another disperser, one stage, and slightly after the 3rd line at the very bottom, right here. Right here. Okay? And then this is where the magic happens, in my opinion. Got some distortion and another OTT and a Serum Effects. Turn the distortion off. Right, I guess that could work, but you kind of got to turn it on to make it sound good, you know what I mean? Okay, another OTT. It's pretty much just making it louder. I'm pretty sure that's default right there, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, because it's not even multi-band. That's just the default. Just turn a compressor on and then you can just leave it. Next, stereo. Just making it a little bit wider. This is a plugin by, I believe, Kilohertz, the same people that made the phase plant, I believe. And we're just turning that up to 157%. And then we have a filter for pre-drop. So I will turn that on now. Right. So just a pre-drop filter. And lastly, we have another EQ, which boosts up the sub, because the sub could be louder. Right, louder sub is always better, at least in my opinion. Right? So basically that's everything. It's super easy. Oh, also we have these things down here, which hits on every kick and snare. It sounds like this. And these are percussions as well, except for this one. This is a war chant. I got it off a sample pack on Splice. I don't remember when. It was a fat minute ago since I downloaded all my Splice samples. And basically this this percussion is basically the same thing as the gun bass, except you tweak it to make it sound good to the sample that you actually use, since obviously the frequency shifter is going to be different. you know, it's not going to be the same as the bass. It's pretty much the same processing as the bass, though. Just tweak it to your liking. And then the war chant down here. Just a delay and wave shaper. The delay is the only thing that affects it. The wave shaper just makes it louder, obviously. The time is at 0.7, which I'm pretty sure is close to all the way down. The level, I'm pretty sure that's default. The wet all the way up, the tone smack dab in the middle, the dry all the way up. Cut off and res, I'm pretty sure that's default. And that's how you get the war chants and the percussions that snap on every kick and snare. And this is what it should sound like right now without the bass. And obviously, you cannot forget sidechain. I use it for the balance. I don't know why, I just find it easy to do. And this is what the sidechain looks like right now. And for drums, I used a Joby kick. That was on the sample pack that he did with Odd Profit. Yeah, I forgot what it's called. It's free. I'm not sure if it's still out because I got this like a year, 2 years ago, maybe. Anyways, it's a kick from that sample pack. And the snare I got off a Mad Void Tearout pack. Anyways, the cymbal, same thing. Mad Void Tearout pack. And with everything, oh, and these little basses right here, they're just bass samples that I took from a Moon Boy pack and added delay and wave shaper, boosting up the volume a little bit. And that's pretty much it. And after you've done everything, you should have something along the lines of this. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed that Tearout gun tutorial. Hit the subscribe button, just do it, and you will get more amazing tutorials just like this one. And in the next tutorial, we might go over something way more tonal, like some agony type Tearout guns. And this is what I made trying to sound like him, which I will probably do a tutorial on if we can make it to, let's see, what are we at right now? We are at 635 subs. If we can get up to 700, okay, then I will be doing a tutorial on these guns that I'm about to show you. Very agony-like and pretty much the same flow as Terminate by Agony. This is what it sounds like. Yeah, if we can get up to 700 subscribers, maybe even more than that, just 700 minimum. You know, I like teaching you guys this kind of stuff, you know, these Tearout basses, and I've been doing a lot of distorted rhythm lately, so I might do another tutorial. That's something other than Tearout, but our next tutorial will be this once we reach 700 subs. And yeah, let me just show you the drop one more time. Yeah, very agony-like, and yep, that'll be our next tutorial. I will see you guys in the next video. Take care, and peace out.